The first and most foundational flight procedure you'll learn as a pilot is how to fly straight and level. This means being able to maintain your same heading and altitude with no turns or changes in pitch. These are the instruments you'll use to maintain straight and level flight, with your primary references being the altimeter and directional gyro, and your supporting instruments being the vertical speed indicator. And in the process of practicing this procedure, you'll be learning how to split your attention between multiple instruments and begin developing your scan. But it isn't enough to know where to look for information. This is just one piece of flying. You also need to maintain performance by controlling the aircraft to some standard. In this case, for straight and level flight, you'll set your power to a low cruise setting, so here we have it as 2100 RPM, and maintain your heading within 10 degrees and an altitude within 100 feet. Let's look at where you'll find this information during the procedure. You'll set the power here on the tachometer. You adjust your throttle so that the needle rests on the mark for 2100 RPM. This is shown in hundreds of RPM, so 2100 would be the first tick above the 20 on this gauge. To evaluate and maintain your heading, you will look here at the directional gyro. If it rotates left or right, then it means that you're turning. So by keeping your heading fixed at the top of the instrument, you'll stay on your desired course. And to manage your altitude, you will use the altimeter as your primary instrument and the vertical speed indicator, or VSI, as a supporting instrument. The VSI is an exceptional instrument because it's so sensitive. If the VSI shows a deviation up or down, the altimeter will soon follow this trend. It helps you anticipate what control input you'll need to make or counteract any loss or gain in altitude. This is a closer view of the flight instruments. To perform the straight and level flight procedure, your eyes should scan these parts of the panel. Practice looking quickly from one instrument to the next and increase the speed as you look from one instrument to instrument to instrument. Switch directions. This is how you will scan to make sure that you don't fixate on one or another. If you find yourself stopping your scan, for a new pilot, this will likely result in letting one piece of performance degrade at the expense of another. After you've practiced straight and level flight for a bit at 2100 RPM, you'll be asked to increase and decrease power. This serves two purposes. The first is to show you how power requires a change in the control inputs you're making. So if you add power, for example, you might need to push forward on the controls. If you remove power, then you'll need to pull back to maintain level flight. And the other, maybe more important reason that we do this is to add a distraction. As your eyes glance down at the tachometer to adjust that power, you will likely take them off of the altimeter and directional gyro. That is, your scan will degrade. So the objective is to have you be able to adjust power by adding the tachometer into your scan so as to not fixate on the power setting process at the expense of losing altitude or departing from the heading you have. And that's straight and level flight. We hope you found this overview helpful.